Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello, I'm Charlene Schmidt.
I'm Patrick Schmidt.
We just watched The Korra's Mother, The Korra's Father, episode 13 of season 5 of Babylon 5. It's time to obey the Korra.
Who knew Esther had groupies?
Intern groupies at that.
Intern groupies. Now my big question is, what is the filming date of this episode?
I'm not sure, but there's some sort of really well-timed intern joke you want to tell here, right?
There is.
God, there were so many intern jokes when this thing aired.
Yeah, I bet.
So this is a different episode. We're getting
is.
the perspective of Bester and the Psi Corps. I really want to know, what did you get out of it?
Psi Corps is really incestuous.
In so many manners of speaking,
Right.
yes.
That kind of behavior would be okay, and then that she would keep it up and it would be okay. I mean, you knew Psi Corps was f***ed up.
Yeah.
There's way more dimensions to it than you realize.
Let's just even talk about the whole intern thing from Lauren in particular.
Sure.
She wanted to make Bester happy in so many ways. She's the instigator here, not him.
Right.
Which says, yeah, there's probably some sort of expectation where maybe somebody said, hey, if you really want to get in, this is the way to do it. She has no problem with it. She was willing. And just no to all of that. Ugh.
Where is Psi Corps HR?
I don't think they have it. On paper, it seems great that Psi Corps takes care of its own, right? Psi Corps business, Psi Corps takes care of it, and that way nobody else has to worry about it. But that also means nobody else gets into their business, which is what they really want.
The fact that there's a whole culture of cover-ups and lies, it's not surprising at all, but it is interesting to see that kind of played out. And, who knows what? Well, it turns out pretty much everyone knows everything. And everyone knows that they need to lie to protect their own.
Again, it's a cultural thing where that is accepted and that is considered the norm, and that's what you have to do.
How do they get on in a world where, they are subjugated to the demands of the mundanes, right? That's a very legitimate concern.
There's forces within the Psi Corps that basically teach Psi Corps trainees and interns and what have you that, yes, telepaths are better than mundanes, and there's definitely an attitude that mundanes are less than at best and savage at worst, and they are confident that when there is this massive war against mundanes, they're gonna win, hands down. Flip it to the other side where you have somebody like Zach, blatant and outward with his dislike for people like Bester and what they do. On both sides of the coin here, we have a lot of distrust. We have nobody wanting to work together, not really, except for Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin was the one who kind of saved this episode emotionally. There was a little bit of hope in it all that, hey, that this might actually move forward in a good way if everyone is the optimist as opposed to the pessimist.
Richard Biggs turned in a fantastic performance in this episode. He didn't have a whole lot that he had to say, but it was much more in what he did.
Let's talk about the male intern, Chen.
Chen.
One of the things I found really interesting about Chen was that he was not disciplined for breaking the Psi Corps rules.
Yeah. Didn't he not see all the propaganda in Psi Corps HQ? Obey?
Right. He showed initiative, and ultimately, one, that's what got him in the situation he did without actually getting in trouble for it. But two, when he did obey, I think this is important, when he did obey, that's how he died.
Interesting contradiction, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm getting a lot of mixed messages out of that.
I think that's the idea. I think the whole point of Psi Corps is a weaving of mixed messages, a weaving of lies.
Which makes you wonder, how much longer is the Psi Corps House of Cards going to last?
I also want to get into the fact that Psi Corps made a mistake. They couldn't identify a P12.
Ooh, yes, thank you so much for pointing this out. So good, because Bester proclaims, we do not make these mistakes. Oh, guess what? Turns out you did.
You did, and you lied about it.
Really? The Psi Corps lied about something? I'm shocked. Yeah. Kind of like that quote, when somebody shows you who they are the first time, listen to that.
And I feel like this episode was trying to make Bester a little bit more empathetic at points. Like, look at this guy, he's got a job to do too. And as much as I appreciated that, I also was frustrated by the fact that I don't want to feel anything good about Bester. I definitely felt more like Zach than I felt like Franklin.
That's kind of what makes this episode so great, though, is it's this slice of life from somebody we have grown to dislike and not trust, but he is the hero of his own story, and we get to see that here for the first time, really. Well, I think it's time we get into our little shuttlecraft and see what sort of weird Psi Corps artifacts we can find in hyperspace.
Yeah, let's get on out of here and get to our next episode.
Yes, where maybe we'll see some of the principal characters.
Yeah, for once. Maybe we'll see the captain. But until then, we have a week to discuss this episode with you guys, plus, the rest of however long YouTube lives. So... comment, please let us know what you thought of this episode. If you like engaging in this conversation, throw a like on here. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the Nerd Party.
Yes, please, and hit that bell if you want notifications the moment a new Babble for 5 is released.
It's every Sunday. You know that by now, and we're so glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks you guys. Just please don't spoil anything that happens past this episode in the comments. We've roughly got just a little under half of Season 5 left.
And I've never seen any of it, so come along with me. And we'll see you next week.
All right, bye everybody.